In Nietzsche's Beyond Good and Evil, he starts out by saying, suppose truth is a woman, what then? Well, what if the world or society in of itself was like a woman? And the more you try to control it, the more it tries to snap back at you. And instead of trying to control maxing, you're just chill maxing with the universe and with the world. What would happen if you just let go? What would happen if you just let the world be chaotic as it is? Because let's face it, it is kind of like a woman. A woman, you can't really dictate or detail anything of what she's going to behave like. Yes, there's general uh, perceptions and behaviors that she's going to exhibit, but you can't really always expect a woman to act in one particular way. Okay, you can't expect emotional creatures to be logical in their consistency all the time. Now, that's not to say that women can't be logical, of course. It's not an excuse that women shouldn't be logical, because they're definitely capable of it. But it's not to say also that you need to just chill. Let yourself chill. Remember in Fight Club when Tyler Durden is talking to the guy, I can't remember his name, Edward Norton's character. Wow, I can't remember his name off the top of my head now. But Tyler Durden is, they're driving, Brad Pitt's character, and they're driving, and he's like, oh my gosh, would you stop trying to control everything? Just fucking let go. Just let go and let the consequences be what they're going to be. And that's exactly what happens, right? They get in a car accident and a car crash, but part of it is just learning how to let go. And the thing though is with Fight Club, it's to the point to where it's almost, well, it is masochistic. It's not almost masochistic. It is masochistic. He's leaning so hard into the other territory where he becomes masochistic. He gets pleasure from the pain. And I think that a lot of men out there specifically are getting pleasure from the pain that they're inflicting upon themselves. And they think that they're doing these good things. That's what's so mind-blowing, is because, well, it's actually not that mind-blowing, but at the same time it is, because the whole life that we live is a paradox. And some of these people are literally walking paradoxes. And they're walking contradictions, and they don't even realize it, because many people don't think that they hold conflicting worldviews or ideologies in their own minds. They don't think that. They don't think, oh, well, if I'm in this way and I'm exhibiting these behaviors, or I'm in this thought algorithm, then I am that way. When that's clearly not the case. It's clearly not the case, because they don't really see that there is logical inconsistencies, and there's this kind of delusion that is not being everlasting, but it's neither being eradicated either. It's just kind of steadily prevalent in their minds. And there's this juxtaposition in their mind that they don't even see. And they're holding conflicting beliefs, and they don't even realize it, because they're not thinking. They're holding on to these ideologies that people have told them about, or people have talked to them about. And they're completely disassociated from who they are and who their identity is. Because that's the way that if you want to really degrade a population, you would strip them of their identity incrementally. And that's exactly what we've seen in the Western society specifically, but all around the world. We have, at every turn, everybody's trying to steal parts of our identity, or erase parts of our identity, or replace parts of our identity. One of the very first videos that popped off on my channel, 3 years ago now, was the narcissist trying to steal your life force. And that video was really symbolic to what my life had been up to that point, because I just wanted to get the information out. I didn't really care about how many people I was reaching at the time. I just wanted to get the people, because I wanted to talk to the people that really needed it most. And it's the same thing now. Of course, everybody that makes videos or writes stuff wants people to read it or to comment about it or to have an impact on them. But the truth is, the thing is like, it's really just about making an impact, even if it's just on one person's life. And the amount of comments and people that have reached out to me over the last 3 years since starting this channel specifically, it's been an honor to be able to see the people's growth and the impact that I'm making. But it's also really not about me, though. It's not about me. It's about consistently making an effort to show up for other people and help other people get to where they need to be, to help those rare people with rare problems insofar as it is in accordance to God's will. That is what this is all about. And I think that the people that are in your life that are not seeing the world that is collapsing around us, because it is collapsing. In fact, have you considered that what if the world has already collapsed? What if the system itself has already collapsed and we're just kind of holding on a little bit? Because it seems like very unnatural for the US, for example, for the fiat currency to be in the state that it's in, to also for us to be a global power somehow. It seems very unlikely that that would be the case. And honestly, I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of sick of seeing my government, if you're living in the US anyway, and really anywhere that this is happening, but I'm sick of seeing my government print and print and print and print and print while consistently devaluing everything that I'm working for. Like, do you realize that we're working for money that's ever decreasing in value, like by the day almost, it seems? Like, the market is going up generally speaking, but is it? Because you can't really afford a house, okay? Money in of itself is like a socioeconomic, well, it's more like time. Money, and like when people say time is money and money is time, what they're really saying is time is a socioeconomic value. And when you apply certain types of perceptions of value to that socioeconomic value in of itself, not everybody's going to see it the same way. In my book, The Book of Oldishness, I call this a PIM. It's a portrayal in mind. So your portrayals in mind, depending on your PIMs, per se, you're going to see the world differently than other people. So what I've noticed about well-off people that I've worked with in my one-on-one sessions, etc., is compared to people that are maybe not as well off, but are still putting in the effort to build their lives. What I've seen in the difference between the two is that they value time way more efficiently. They will pay to get to the place to where they need to be. Whereas the people that are not so well off, they'll do it on their own, but it's not like they're wasting time exactly, but some of them do waste time trying to get to a place to where if they were able to just pay an extra $50 a month or $100 a month for 4 years or whatever, they would be where they need to be. And I'm just, throwing something out there just as a number, but that would be it. But a lot of people don't want to invest in themselves. They don't want to invest in themselves because they don't see the value in themselves to invest in. They don't see that they're capable of that kind of competence. And I genuinely believe that a lot of people self-sabotage because they're afraid of success. And it's only the addictive types of people. Like, I think addictive types of people that are can be highly addicted to things, those are the smartest kinds of people that I've ever met, in my opinion. And the reason because I think this way is that they are very well acquainted with their shadow archetype. They're very well acquainted with it. Now, they haven't always integrated it, but they're very in it. Okay, they know their dark side very well, even though it's like they know their dark side, but they don't want to accept it. And so they have all this knowledge and this intelligence about their dark side, but they don't know how to internalize it. They don't know how to have the emotional intelligence to internalize it, even though they're intellectual. They might not think that they're intellectual because they don't maybe seem that way, but it absolutely is the case. And these kinds of people, because they're acquainted with the shadow archetype, they're able to see into the realms of spirituality, I think, a little bit more, I would say, simply, or simpler rather than easier, because it's not necessarily easier for these people, but it is more simple because they're already acquainted with that shadow archetype. A lot of people don't have the nerve to really approach their shadow. A lot of people don't have the nerve to really integrate their shadow either, because the shadow is all of the aggressive parts of you, or all these dark parts of you that you don't want to actually acknowledge is really there. And when you have to acknowledge it, it can be kind of difficult for you. Like, for example, with myself, I really didn't like being angry and assertive. And I put the two in the same box. I mean, they're not absolutely in the same box at all. But I put them in the same box because I learned growing up, because of the family dynamic that I was in, that asserting myself, standing up for myself, would result in a punishment to me. So my nervous system was pattern, in so far as pattern recognition goes, was asserting myself means punishment for myself. And so literally my nervous system was turning on its own and on itself. And the only way that I was able to get beyond that was to not be scared of asserting myself and having those boundaries. But you can't really not be scared of it. You just have to have courage. You have to have the courage to place those boundaries. You have to have the courage to do these things. And so the world around us is failing. Okay, the world around us is falling. It just is what it is. And I am learning as much as I can about Bitcoin right now. And I have been learning about it for the last couple months, but it's only been within the last week or so that I've really started to digest exactly what Bitcoin can potentially be. And I'm not trying to, give financial advice or anything like that, or I'm not trying to orange pill anybody or to hodl. If anybody doesn't know what hodl is, it's hold on for dear life. Like, people in Bitcoin, they're very much like that. And something that I've realized with a lot of people in Bitcoin is it's kind of cultish. It's very cultish. If you're like just in it just to be in it because it's part of the hype, you don't really know what it is. Okay, and that's fine. But again, you have to really understand what exactly Bitcoin is and what exactly Bitcoin is doing, because it's a monetary system that is not only capable of being an asset, but also capable of being a currency. And it is too soon to declare it to be an asset, but it absolutely could be an asset functioning as a currency down the line. Because think about this, right? There's only going to be 21 million, and in about 10 years or so, maybe less, that cap is going to be there. Like 21 million, they're going to all be mined. So if you're not in it, where right now there are entities with limitless power to purchase this commodity or this asset, and you have the opportunity to be involved in that now when the price is low, well, relatively speaking, because what you're really doing is people think, well, I don't want to buy, Bitcoin. It's like, well, you're not really buying Bitcoin, you're selling fiat. That's kind of what you're doing. You're not really buying Bitcoin. You're offering up your fiat. And Bitcoin technically is considered fiat. Okay, we talked a little bit about this in the Regal Change Academy as well, is that Bitcoin technically is still fiat because it's not backed by anything. But the idea down the line, if anybody's read the Bitcoin Standard, is that it's going to be backed by Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to become the main commodity. Why? Well, because governments can't really confiscate it, okay, unless they turn out the internet, which if they get to the point to where there is only digital transactions, well then, because the digital euro is potentially coming out next year. They're supposed to decide this month whether or not it's actually coming out or not, I believe. So paying more attention to that and investing more attention into that, as we speak. But I think also something that we need to realize is that when it comes to being involved with this, now's the time, because down the line, with these entities that have this limitless ability to just print money, right? Well, that money, it's even though they can keep printing it, they're not going to be able to keep buying Bitcoin. So if you have Bitcoin now, the value of it is going to only go up in the future, because these people are going to still try to use the fiat system and the banking system to use, to get Bitcoin, but there's only going to be a certain amount. And all these altcoins and such, I don't think that these are the right things either, because that's just as valuable as fiat currency, in my opinion, if not worse. I think Ethereum, for example, XRP, these are viable options, sure, and I believe that they're going to go up continually, but I'm not gonna go into those anymore at all. I mean, I'm not really investing right now anyway, but what I do have, I'm just holding on to. And again, this is not financial advice or anything like that. I'm just giving you the landscape. This is only for educational and opinion-based purposes with the financial stuff. And again, I don't give advice anymore. I don't give advice at all when it comes to anything, because my channel is primarily about spirituality. But I'm seeing now with Bitcoin, for example, that the bridge between spiritual freedom and Bitcoin is there. And so think about how difficult it's going to be down the line to actually accumulate Bitcoin. Like, if it goes, I'm not saying it's going to go there, but if it goes to $1 million, okay, what you could get for $10,000 right now, USD, for Bitcoin, you could sell your fiat for Bitcoin, like a tenth of a Bitcoin, let's say, just to keep it simple for the math. Let's say you sell your fiat currency for $10,000 for 0.1 Bitcoin, okay? So you sell the fiat, you attain the asset / currency that is Bitcoin. You have now 0.1 Bitcoin. That 0.1 Bitcoin is going to be way more difficult to get when Bitcoin is 10x what it is now, when you bought that or when you sold that, really. Because I'm even trying to switch these terms in my mind, because we're so used to, oh, I got to buy this or I got to buy that. It's like, no. We have to completely reframe how the game is being played right now, because we don't understand what exactly is happening. I'm still like, I know what's going on, but I'm still finding the words to articulate what's happening. So anyway, that's going to be down the line, it's going to be way harder to get that 0.1 Bitcoin later than it is now. But the good news is that when that happens down the line, where it does go up exponentially, which I don't see it not going up. A lot of people don't believe it. A lot of people are saying, oh, I'm too late, or, it's not worth it. And I'm not saying go put your whole savings in it and all that, but I genuinely believe that this might be the last chance for wealth distribution to be fulfilled. But however, there's also a caveat to that, because those that don't get into Bitcoin right now, and let's say Bitcoin does increase in value, they're going to be left behind like you would not believe. And I don't like that, because that means that the people who have the most amount of Bitcoin right now, which I'm pretty sure there's a statistic that said like 60% of the people that own Bitcoin are millionaire billionaires or something like that. I'll have to check that statistic again, or somebody can correct me in the comments there. But that's really something to look into. That's really something to think about, because that means that only 40% of the people, and there's only 15% of the population in the world that are actually invested into Bitcoin or crypto, I believe. So again, I'm going to have to check that statistic, but if somebody has those stats, that would be very important to put in, because that's really valuable information. But yeah, I mean, this is just where we're at. And so we have to redefine how we're going to think about these things, right? We're going to have to redefine how we think about life, how we think about, getting involved with the world, and really our relationship to money, our relationship to people, our relationship to things, our relationship to our spirits. And I think that there's going to be a whole bunch of changes that are coming down the line. And, who knows what's going to happen, right? Who knows what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. But one thing's for sure. I consider this. Consider the possibility that the world has already collapsed. Just consider that. Just consider that the world has already collapsed. And now what do you do? Like, what do you do now? Because they could confiscate gold again. Okay, remember in 1933, FDR, he confiscated the gold because, well, they were in the Great Depression, and the U.S. government needed the gold, and they needed that as a currency to get back and to have that standard back, to have the money backed by gold. And people didn't want to do it. They were taking out their gold from the Federal Reserve banks and all that, and that's why there was the executive order to do such a thing. But all of these things, history repeats itself. It just rhymes in a different way, right? So we have to think about this. We have to think about, what do we really want to do in this life? What do we really want to accomplish? And how do we really want to accomplish it? So with all that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful for you. I hope you all have a blessed rest of your day. Chill max, bro. Chill max. Like, you just gotta chill. Let go and treat the world and existence. Maybe, let's say existence. Treat existence as you would a woman. Okay? Treat existence as you would a woman. And suppose existence is a woman. What then? Peace be with you. Until next time.